Your mind does not spiral because it is weak. It spirals because it is searching for order faster than the world can tolerate. They told you to stop thinking so much. They said you complicate everything. What they really meant was that your mind moved beyond their pace, and they did not know how to follow. There is a memory of a classroom, fluorescent lights, a worksheet finished early. While others waited, your thoughts ran ahead, building alternate endings, questioning assumptions, mapping possibilities. The teacher called it distraction. You felt it as intensity. That moment followed you. Overthinking became the label, a flaw, a reason. You learned to doubt the very process that kept you aware. Inside, the storm kept building. Thoughts stacked on thoughts. Futures branched endlessly. Emotions layered. Time slipped. Guilt crept in. Why can others act so simply? Why does my mind refuse shortcuts? You told yourself to calm down. You tried forcing silence. Silence never came. There was a night you remember clearly. Dark room, phone face down, mind wide awake. Every decision replayed. Every possible outcome analyzed. You felt trapped inside your own intelligence. That was not anxiety. That was strategy without structure. ADHD overthinking is raw processing power. It is nonlinear intelligence, scanning for patterns, threats, meanings, and leverage at the same time. Without guidance, it overwhelms. With direction, it dominates. Underestimation cut deep when you sensed problems early. You warned them. You felt the fracture before it cracked. They ignored you. Later, collapse arrived exactly as you predicted. Being right too early feels like failure. There is a memory of standing quietly during a heated meeting. Voices rose. Confidence filled the room. You saw the flaw instantly. You stayed silent. When the plan failed weeks later, nobody connected it to your pause. You started hiding your insight. Overthinking turned inward. Shame cycles formed. Unfinished tasks haunted you. Comparison ate at you. You felt too much and still not enough. Then came the break. Burnout did not arrive loudly. It drained you slowly. Creativity dulled. Motivation collapsed. Your mind went quiet, not because it healed, but because it shut down. That emptiness scared you more than the storm. In that stillness, a different thought surfaced. What if overthinking was never meant to be stopped? What if it was meant to be trained? This is where the transformation begins. The first shift is respect. You stop insulting your mind. You stop calling depth a defect. You recognize that your thoughts arrive fast because your brain processes connections others never see. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. There is a flashback of writing everything down for the first time. Pages filled. Noise moved out of your head and onto paper. Breath slowed. Control returned. That was the first taste of strategy. Strategy 1 is externalization. You do not carry everything internally. Lists, maps, timelines, visual anchors. Structure becomes a container for depth. There is a memory of sleeping deeply after years of restless nights. The storm did not disappear. It finally had borders. Strategy 2 is prioritization. Not every thought deserves action. You learn to ask one question. Does this move me forward or drain me? There is a scene of closing a tab, deleting a note, letting an idea rest without guilt. Energy returned immediately. Strategy 3 is timing. You stop forcing decisions under pressure. You give your mind space to finish its work. Clarity arrives when rushed thinking stops. There is a lonely walk you remember. Cold air. Street lights. Thoughts aligning naturally. The answer appeared without effort. That was strategy emerging. Overthinking begins to change shape. It slows, it sharpens, it becomes foresight. You notice patterns earlier. You anticipate reactions. You see consequences before actions. You stop reacting. You start positioning. Storm imagery shifts. The hurricane becomes an ocean, deep, controlled, powerful beneath calm surface. People still misread you. Silence looks like hesitation. Pauses look like doubt. You let them believe it. Assumptions create cover. There is a memory of letting others rush ahead while you waited. When obstacles appeared, You adjusted quietly. That patience paid dividends. Your emotional intensity becomes an asset. You read rooms instantly. You sense shifts. You detect dishonesty. Empathy sharpens strategy instead of sabotaging it. Comparison fades. Speed loses appeal. Accuracy becomes priority. There is a childhood flashback of building something alone for hours, lost in focus, hyper-focus locked in. That depth never vanished. It waited for command. This part ends with tension unresolved. You have learned to respect and structure your overthinking. Control has begun, but command has not arrived yet. The storm listens now. Soon it will move on your signal. Depth has aligned. Strategy is forming. The next phase will demand discipline, stronger than emotion, silence sharper than speech. Control tested under pressure. Do not rush ahead. You are standing at the edge of something dangerous and powerful. Hold steady. The mind that once overwhelmed you is learning obedience. Strategy is only the beginning. More is coming. Stay ready. The forge is still hot. The blade is not finished. Wait. Discipline enters where excitement once ruled. Strategy, without discipline, leaks power. This is where most minds retreat. This is where yours advances. Your thoughts still arrive in waves. The difference now is command. You decide when to engage. You decide when to disengage. The storm no longer drags you. It waits. There is a memory of waking before dawn, not from anxiety, but from clarity. One idea sat still. Instead of scattering, you knew what mattered that day. Everything else lost urgency. That was discipline forming. Discipline does not mean rigidity. It means direction. You stop reacting to every internal signal. You choose which signals become action. The second phase of strategy is filtering. You stop asking, "Why am I thinking this?" and start asking, "What is this useful for?" Curiosity replaces judgment. There is a flashback of reading a message that once would have triggered hours of replay. This time, you noted the emotion, extracted information, and moved on. Power conserved. Your emotional intensity stabilizes. You feel deeply without spiraling. Feelings inform decisions instead of hijacking them. There is a memory of a cracked room after confrontation. Voices once echoed in your head for days. Now they faded by morning. You learned what mattered. You released the rest. Overthinking becomes selective. You dive deep only where leverage exists. This is where hyperfocus returns, refined, not chaotic obsession, but intentional immersion. You choose the target. You enter fully. You exit cleanly. There is a childhood memory of disappearing into a project while the world faded. That state returns now, guided instead of accidental. Time blindness still appears. You design around it. Timers, blocks, recovery windows. Structure protects creativity. There is a night you stopped working early, trusting tomorrow. Guilt rose, then relief. The next day, output doubled. Discipline rewarded restraint. Underestimation persists. Others still misinterpret your pauses. You no longer correct them. Explanation weakens authority. There is a meeting you recall. Silence from you, confidence from others. When complexity emerged, all eyes turned. You spoke once, direction followed. That was strategy speaking through discipline. You begin to recognize fear disguised as urgency. You stop mistaking speed for progress. You value clean execution over frantic motion. There is a memory of declining an opportunity because alignment was wrong. Another came later, stronger. That patience reshaped your trajectory. Your mind feels heavier now, anchored, stable, less noise, more signal. Storm imagery sharpens. The ocean learns tides. Power moves predictably. You trust it. Comparison dissolves further. You stop wanting their simplicity. Simplicity hides fragility. Depth builds resilience. You realize how often you once abandoned ideas too early from exhaustion. Now you pace. You finish. Completion feels solid, not euphoric. There is a moment of finishing something meaningful. Silence followed. No rush, just wait. That wait was authority. The third phase emerges naturally. Integration. Integration means your thinking, Feeling and acting align. No internal war. No constant correction. There is a lonely walk you remember, where thoughts, emotions, and decisions aligned perfectly. No tension, no rush, just clarity. That state becomes familiar. You stop questioning your worth based on output. You measure alignment instead. Productivity follows naturally. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You were built different. Different minds require different rules. You finally wrote yours. Your overthinking now functions like a chessboard. Multiple moves ahead. Calm execution. Minimal waste. You sense betrayal early. You feel shifts before words change. You adjust without confrontation. There is a memory of stepping back quietly from a situation before it turned toxic. Others noticed too late. You were already gone. Burning bridges is no longer emotional. It is strategic. You leave rooms that cannot hold depth. A cracked crown appears again in memory. You no longer hesitate. Leadership is no longer noise. It is stability others lean toward. Your silence becomes a signal. Your timing becomes reputation. This part ends as pressure increases. Strategy and discipline now exist. They must be tested. Real command forms only under resistance. The next phase will demand application in hostile environments. Noise, doubt, chaos. You will not retreat. You have trained for this. Hold steady. The storm answers now. Depth awaits instruction. Wait. The next phase begins soon. Stay focused. Power consolidates. Ready. Command is tested when chaos returns. This is where overthinking either collapses again or proves it has become strategy. You step into pressure now with a different posture. Thoughts still arrive. Emotions still surge. The difference is center. You no longer scatter. You choose. There is a vision of standing in heavy rain without flinching. Water falls hard. Ground holds. You remain still because movement is no longer panic-driven. This is command. Your mind now anticipates stress before it peaks. You prepare responses. You design exits. You pace energy. Others react. You position. There is a memory of walking into a room that once overwhelmed you. Noise everywhere. Opinions colliding. This time, you listened. You observed. You spoke last. The direction shifted. That was strategy deployed. Command means trusting your process under scrutiny. People question your pauses. They doubt your restraint. You allow it. Doubt creates space. There is a flashback of being underestimated again. Smiles. Assumptions. You did not correct them. You adjusted quietly. When results appeared, explanations were unnecessary. Your overthinking now functions like radar. You scan environments. You sense shifts. You detect instability early. There is a symbolic scene of cracked ground beneath confident steps. You saw the fracture before it widened. You stepped aside. Others fell through. That was foresight. Your emotional intelligence sharpens further. You read micro-expressions. Tone changes. Energy shifts. You know when to advance and when to wait. There is a memory of choosing silence during provocation. In the past, words would flood. Now restraint held. The other side revealed itself fully. Silence became leverage. You integrate creativity with execution. Ideas no longer remain abstract. You translate vision into steps. You complete. There is a moment of finishing something that once would have remained half-built. The satisfaction was quiet. No adrenaline, just solidity. Completion is command. Time blindness still exists. You respect it. You build buffers. You forgive slips quickly. Guilt loses power when structure holds. There is a lonely walk after a long day where energy remained intact. Thoughts settled. Sleep arrived easily. That preservation mattered. You stop romanticizing struggle. Depth does not require suffering. Discipline protects brilliance. Underestimation continues, but it no longer wounds. It becomes camouflage. People reveal intentions freely around those they misjudge. There is a memory of leaving a situation without drama. No speech. No explanation. Just departure. Your life improved immediately. Burning bridges becomes surgical. Storm imagery transforms again. Fire becomes controlled heat. Steel keeps edge. Shadows obey light. The forge cools because the blade is finished. You stop explaining your mind. Explanation invites interference. You let outcomes speak. There is a final flashback. A moment when you once questioned your intelligence because your thoughts felt too loud. That version of you stands behind glass now. You nod once. Gratitude replaces shame. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are built different. Different minds change games. They do not fit into them. Your overthinking now predicts, prevents, builds, leads. There is mythic energy now. A throne not made of noise but stability. Others gravitate without knowing why. Calm authority attracts trust. You recognize leadership as containment, holding complexity without collapse, making space for clarity. There is a scene of dawn breaking after a long night. Light spreads evenly. No rush, no spectacle, just inevitability. Winning for you will never look frantic. It will look calm, deliberate, unavoidable. You protect this system fiercely. You defend sleep. You defend focus. You defend silence. Because silence is where strategy sharpens. Your mind no longer fights itself. It listens. It answers. It moves when called. This journey was never about stopping overthinking. It was about giving it purpose. High intelligence misread becomes high intelligence revealed. The storm bows now. You stand centered, ready. This is command. Subscribe to continue mastering this depth.